Hotep, how's everybody doing today? Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. Welcome to the African History Network show. It is Tuesday, April 27th, 2021, and we're live. Hope everybody's doing well. Um, it's been a very, very busy day, and we have some updates in the Andrew Brown case out of North Carolina. So we're going to talk about that. An autopsy was done by, paid for by the family, and the family attorneys and the family held a press conference today to reveal the results of the autopsy. And then also today, the FBI announced it's launching an investigation into the killing of Andrew Brown as well. Okay. So all this is taking place, and the family has still only seen 20 seconds of the killing of Andrew Brown. Okay. They have not been able to see the full body camera footage or anything like this. They've still only seen 20 seconds. So it's something really, really strange going on down in North Carolina. So we'll give you an update on what's taking place there. Then also, we know, so the Charlotte office of the FBI, agents with the FBI Charlotte field office, are launching an investigation into this case as well. Less than an hour after an independent autopsy concluded that Andrew Brown was killed by a bullet to the back of the head, the FBI announced that it was opening a federal civil rights investigation. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Then we have an update on a story that we covered last week dealing with the Food and Drug Administration contemplating banning menthol cigarettes. There was an article I posted on Monday from NBC News that deals with the Food and Drug Administration is poised to ban menthol cigarettes this week. The Food and Drug Administration is poised to ban menthol cigarettes this week, experts predict. And we know that menthol cigarettes are targeted towards African Americans, and the vast majority of African American smokers, approximately 85%, use menthol cigarettes. Okay, so we'll talk about that on today's show. All right, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control circumference. A man or woman's thoughts, you can control circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. So we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, 22828. Sign up for our email newsletter. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. If you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN show, paypal.me / the AHN show. That helps us keep doing the research and stay on the air, keep broadcasting 6 days a week, pay some of the bills, etc. Okay. You can still register for the online course that I'm teaching. It starts Saturday, May 1st, 2021, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa Understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school, ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa. Understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We deal with thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We just posted the link here. You can also register at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. This is a 9-week, 18-hour online course that I teach, and we deal with thousands of years of history. Okay, so that starts up Saturday, May 1st, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, I want to jump into the first story here. Andrew Brown Jr. shot 5 times, once in back of head, according to family-backed autopsy. All right, so once again, the family is still waiting to see the full body cam footage. They've only seen body camera footage from one camera, and that was only 20 seconds. Okay. So, it's really something strange going on down in North Carolina. But I want to go. So, what happened today was there was a press conference that revealed the results of the autopsy, an independent autopsy. Less than an hour after an independent autopsy concluded that Andrew Brown Jr. Less than an hour after an independent autopsy concluded that Andrew Brown Jr., who was 42 years old, was killed by a stray bullet in the back of his head, the FBI announced that it was opening a federal civil rights investigation. Now, the independent autopsy shows that he was shot 4 times in the right arm, 4 times in the right arm, and once in the back of the head. It was the shot to the back of the head that was the fatal shot. Now, Andrew Brown's relatives question why Pasquotank County Sheriff's deputies used deadly force while serving a warrant for his arrest on felony drug charges on Wednesday, April 21st. Now, the family commissioned a forensic pathologist named Dr. Brent Hall to who found that Andrew Brown was shot 4 times in the right arm and once squarely in the back of the head. Okay, 4 times in the right arm and once squarely in the back of the head. Now, the shot to the head was fired from intermediate range and penetrated Andrew Brown's skull and brain, according to Dr. Brent Hall, the forensic pathologist. Now, the bullet wound had a trajectory of bottom to top, left to right, and front to back, Dr. Hall's report said. Now, an attorney for the family, Attorney Wayne Kendall, said at the news conference today, he said this, in fact, was a fatal wound to the back of Mr. Brown's head as he was leaving the site, trying to evade being shot at by these particular law enforcement officers that we believe did nothing but a straight up execution, end quote. So you have to wonder. So once again, another day goes by and the family has not been able to see the full body camera footage. Now, yesterday they were told that they had to redact, the authorities had to redact the video to conceal the faces of the officers who were involved in the shooting. And, they said that takes time. They only allowed the family to see 20 seconds of body camera footage. And then today, you would think that they would be done redacting today. And today came and went, and they still haven't been able to see the full body camera footage. So Dr. Hall's report, Dr. Brent Hall, the forensic pathologist, his report confirmed the findings of a state death certificate that showed that Andrew Brown was shot 5 times, once in his head, once in his right shoulder, okay, once in his right shoulder, twice in his upper right arm, and one more around his right elbow. Um, it said that Andrew Brown's immediate cause of death was, quote, penetrating gunshot wound of the head. Penetrating gunshot wound of the head. Now I want to go to this clip here from NBC Nightly News, and they give a recap of what happened today, and they talk about video footage showing a SWAT team headed towards Andrew Brown's residence. Let's go to this clip.
Tonight, the town council in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, releasing this surveillance video as the Pasquotank SWAT team converged on Andrew Brown. The angle does not show what happened next. Brown's family today,
but you need to talk about the assassination,
concluding he was assassinated by deputies.
It was a kill shot to the back of the head.
Brown, who was driving his car at the time, was shot to death 6 days ago as deputies served an arrest warrant for allegedly selling illegal drugs.
Andrew did not get his due process.
The county medical examiner has now issued a death certificate, writing Andrew Brown died a result of a penetrating gunshot wound of the head. The family commissioned their own private autopsy. It shows Brown was first shot 4 times in the right arm, the final bullet that killed him to the back of his head. The Pasquotank sheriff issuing a statement today that says, in part, a private autopsy is just one piece of the puzzle. An independent investigation is being conducted by the state. On Saturday, the sheriff said he supported the release of all the body cameras.
We want the body camera footage made public.
But a close reading of what was just filed with the court now shows the sheriff only asks that the recordings be released to Khalil Farabee, the adult son of Mr. Brown. Yesterday, the Farabee and his attorneys were allowed to watch only one 20-second body cam clip. And what did you see?
Execution.
Execution.
Yes.
Describe it.
It's horrific. You know, you see a person trying to get away and the cops shooting at them. You know, that's not right.
Brown family attorneys plan to argue in the courthouse here tomorrow that all the body cam and dash cam videos be released. It'll be up to a judge to determine if all the video can be released and what releasing the video truly means.
Okay, so what the sheriff's department filed, what they filed regarding releasing the video is only releasing, they filed to only release the full video to Khalil Farabee, who is the son of Andrew Brown. But the families and attorneys, they want the video released publicly so everybody sees what happened. Everybody can see what happened. Okay, so you had that took place today. And that's that clip is courtesy NBC Nightly News from April 27th, 2021. That's at NBCnews.com. We'll post a link here to that clip. Now, then you had, after the results of the independent autopsy were released, you had the FBI announce the launching of a federal civil rights investigation. Okay. We're going to go to another clip here in just a minute that talks about that. But the Andrew Brown's family and attorneys said on Monday, April 26th, that they were allowed to see just 20 seconds, to see 20 seconds of one body camera video of the deadly encounter. They said the video showed that Andrew Brown was not a threat to arresting deputies. Okay, and they actually said at the press conference on Monday, they said that Andrew Brown had his hand on the steering wheel. He had his hand on the steering wheel while he was being shot. Now, police recordings such as body camera video are not automatically classified as public records in North Carolina. Okay, public recordings such as body camera video are not automatically classified as public records in North Carolina, as in some other states. A judge has to sign off on formal requests to have police video released. Okay, so you're dealing with different laws in North Carolina, and this is something that I've said before. You have 50 individual state governments. Okay, 50 individual state governments, and different state governments have different laws. Okay, this is what we're dealing with. So in North Carolina, the laws are different. We're going to show this. I'm using Be Live to broadcast tonight. I was having problems with Restream, so I'm trying out Be Live. That's why it looks a little different. Let's look at this here. So police recordings such as body camera video are not automatically classified as public records in North Carolina, as in some other states. A judge has to sign off on formal requests to have police video released. Okay. Now, check out this article here from NBC News. Andrew Brown Jr. shot 5 times, once in back of head, according to family-backed autopsy. Okay, this is from April 27th, 2021. Now, I want to go to the let's see here. I want to go to this next clip here. This deals with the opening of a federal civil rights investigation. Okay. This deals with the federal civil rights investigation. Let's go to this clip here. This is from Andrea Mitchell, MSNBC. FBI opens federal civil rights probe into death of Andrew Brown Jr. Let's go to this clip.
And breaking news from North Carolina, where the FBI, as we just said, is announcing that it is opening a civil rights investigation into the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. by police in North Carolina last week. The Brown family held a press conference last hour announcing the release of its independent autopsy report, showing Andrew Brown was shot 5 times, the fatal shot to the back of his head.
He was able to back up as these shots were coming into the vehicle. He was able to back up, turn the vehicle around, spin off across a vacant lot. And at that time, he was hit in the back of the head here. And that is the fatal bullet wound that was described in the death certificate as a penetrating bullet wound to the skull.
Brown was killed last Wednesday as deputies were attempting to serve him with a search and arrest warrant related to felony drug charges. His family says that they were only shown a 20-second clip of redacted body cam footage of the shooting. Brown's son, Khalil, calling it an execution. A hearing on the public release of video from the scene is set for tomorrow morning. County police have yet to hold a public press conference on the case, insisting last night the body cam video does not show the full story.
This tragic incident was quick and over in less than 30 seconds, and body cameras are shaky and sometimes hard to decipher.
NBC News correspondent Katie Beck joins us from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Katie, what did we learn from the family's autopsy last hour?
Well, Andrea, we learned that actually minutes after that fatal gunshot wound to the back of the head was when Andrew Brown died on scene. We also know that he suffered 4 additional gunshot wounds to the arm before that fatal gunshot wound. His family, again, calling for transparency at today's press conference, saying they were only able to view 20 seconds of that body cam footage yesterday. They repeated it over and over again before sheriff's deputies, but were not able to leave with that footage and were not able to see the entire tape. So far right now, the longer this silence continues from the sheriff's department, it seems the anger grows here. There have been nights of peaceful protest here in Elizabeth City so far, but today's press conference was a little tense, a little different. The tone, the outrage, certainly spiking the longer and less we hear from the sheriff's department. Now, as you mentioned, the FBI out of Charlotte has said they are going to begin an investigation. That again raises the stakes in this case and will likely result in more swelling here, more outrage from people saying, why haven't we seen the full picture? We don't know what preceded this shooting, and we certainly don't know why excessive force was needed in this case. We're hoping to get some of those answers tomorrow when a judge makes the ultimate ruling on whether or not any or all of this body cam footage is released.
Okay, so a judge is going to rule on the body camera footage on Wednesday, April 28th. So we'll talk about that on our Wednesday night show and what the results are and what the judge rules. Okay, I want to go to this next piece here. I want to go to this next article. This is from WBTV.com, in North Carolina. FBI investigating Andrew Brown Jr. Shooting. Governor calls for special prosecutor after independent autopsy results revealed. Okay. And yeah, see, the family attorneys revealed the results of the independent autopsy. And then this put pressure to have the FBI get involved and investigate also. All right. So there's a cover up. It appears, let me say it like this. It appears there's some type of cover up going on down in North Carolina. Okay. And as Attorney Benjamin Crump said yesterday at the press conference, on Monday at the press conference, and others have said, if the video footage showed Andrew Brown doing something wrong, if it showed Andrew Brown doing something that justified police killing him, if it showed Andrew Brown attacking police or something like that, they would have already released the video. If the video showed Andrew Brown doing something that justified police killing him, he was trying to shoot them, he was attacking them, okay, they would have already released the video. The fact that he was killed Wednesday, April 21st, and he still haven't released the video, and they've only allowed 2 family members and their attorneys to see 20 seconds, that means it's damaging to the police. That's what that means. Okay, so there was an article from Channel 3, WBTV, in North Carolina. We're going to flip over to this. I'm going to flip over to this story here. This deals with the FBI investigation. Let's show this here. Okay. FBI investigating Andrew Brown Jr. shooting. Governor calls for special prosecutor after independent autopsy results revealed. See, and see this that press conference that they held today announcing the results of the autopsy, that was carried by MSNBC. That was carried on carried news outlets all across the country were reporting on that and showing that live. The FBI has opened a federal civil rights investigation into the officer-involved shooting death of Andrew Brown Jr. Agents with the FBI Charlotte field office will work closely with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of North Carolina and the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice to determine whether federal civil rights laws were violated. Okay, now when the FBI gets involved, so what you're dealing with is the at the federal level, the FBI and the even when the Department of Justice charges police, okay, like if someone is killed, they can only charge based upon depriving someone of their civil rights. It's a civil rights investigation. Okay, the majority of the power over policing is at the state level, not the federal level. Majority of the power over policing is at the state level, not the federal level. And as I've said before, you have 50 individual state governments. Okay, you have 50 individual state governments, and they have, you know, different laws, etc. But what's taking place here is that with this investigation, um, they have to prove willful intent. They have to prove that the officers willfully intended to, with the civil rights investigation. They have to prove that the officers willfully intended to deprive Andrew Brown of his civil rights. And that's a high bar to meet. They may be able to, the elements may be there. They may be able to have enough evidence to prove that, but it's harder to get a conviction at the federal level than it is at the state level. Now, Governor Roy Cooper, governor of North Carolina, is urging that a special prosecutor handle all matters regarding the shooting. The governor provided a statement Tuesday afternoon. He said, in the interest of justice, okay, in the interest of justice and confidence in the judicial system, I believe a special prosecutor should handle all matters regarding the shooting. Let me flip this around here. Okay, he said, I believe a special prosecutor should handle all matters regarding the shooting in Pasquotank County. This would help assure the community and Mr. Brown's family that a decision on pursuing criminal charges is conducted without bias. This position is consistent with the change in the law recommended by our task force for racial equity in criminal justice. Okay, this position is consistent with the change in the law recommended by our task force for racial equity in criminal justice, which calls for a special prosecutor in police shootings. And I believe the law should be changed to help ensure it, said Governor Roy Cooper, governor of North Carolina. Okay, so check out this article also here. All right. This is from WBTV, Channel 3 in North Carolina. FBI investigating Andrew Brown Jr. shooting. FBI investigating Andrew Brown Jr. shooting. Governor calls for special prosecutor after independent autopsy results revealed. All right, now. I want to go to this next clip here. This is from the Readout, Joanne Reed, MSNBC, dealing with this story also. We'll post this link here to the article from WBTV. Let's go to this third clip here. And it has some of what happened at the press conference today also. Let's go to this clip.
Show us the tape. Nearly a week. Readout tonight with Show Us the Tape. Nearly a week after Andrew Brown Jr. was shot and killed by police in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, with law enforcement officials providing virtually no details and no body camera footage yet. Federal investigators are now joining the investigation. Today, the Charlotte office of the FBI launched a civil rights probe to determine whether federal laws were violated in the shooting. That announcement comes as lawyers for the family released an independent autopsy report, finding that Brown was shot 5 times by deputies, with the cause of death, a gunshot to the back of the head.
We now know, because we have not been able to get any official documentation concerning this shooting, that this, in fact, was a fatal wound to the back of Mr. Brown's head as he was leaving the site, trying to evade being shot at by these particular law enforcement officers who we believe did nothing but a straight out execution.
Lawyers said the autopsy indicated that Brown was first shot 4 times in his right arm and started to drive away before the fatal shot to the back of his head. Today's Brown's son, who along with the family and their attorneys was allowed to view a 20-second redacted snippet of footage from one body camera in the killing, also called his father's killing and execution.
To my pops, man, yesterday I said he was executed. This autopsy report showed me that was correct. Those 3 gunshots to the arm, that wasn't enough? That wasn't enough? It's obvious he was trying to get away. It's obvious. And they gonna shoot him in the back of the head. That's not right. That's not right at all, man.
Following the release of the private autopsy, Pasquotank County Sheriff Tommy Wooten said that he wanted answers as much as the public, adding that the private autopsy was just one piece of the puzzle. And today, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper said a special prosecutor should handle all matters involving the shooting to help assure the community and Andrew Brown's family that a decision on criminal charges is without bias. Bakari Sellers, one of the lawyers representing the family, said more information is needed from all parties involved to provide some justice for the family.
You don't have to care for Ben or Bakari or Harry. You don't have to be Democrat or Republican. You don't have to be white or black to realize that what this family has not gotten is justice. We have an execution here in Elizabeth City. We demand justice from the sheriff's department. We demand justice from this district attorney. We demand justice not for anybody standing up here, but we demand justice for Andrew Brown and his family.
Late today, new video was released from a city camera mounted near Andrew Brown's house, showing Pasquotank County deputies arriving to serve a warrant on Brown in the moments before he was killed. The angle does not show what happened next. A hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning regarding the release of the deputies' body camera footage from the shooting. And joining me now from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, is NBC News correspondent Carrie Sanders. Carrie, I'm glad to get a chance to talk with you because it feels to me like a lot of what's happening among officials in Pasquotank County and in the state is playing keep away. They're each saying, no, look over there, look over there, look over there. I don't have the authority. I don't have the authority. I don't have the authority. I can't tell you how many of these press conferences I've seen where all I hear from these people is I don't have the authority to release the tape, even to the family. Can you give us some clarity on when even the family and their attorneys who seem entitled to it are going to get to see what actually happened to Andrew Brown Jr.?
Well, what you have in North Carolina is a rather strict law that can be interpreted. And so what you have is the Sheriff Wooten here saying that he can't release the video based on the law here in North Carolina and that it has to be determined by a judge whether it can be released. We're 6 days in, and it's only tomorrow that this is going to reach a judge. So the family has, and the lawyers have a pretty good argument saying that things are moving in slow motion from where they see. Yesterday, they came here to the sheriff's office and they thought, well, we're going to finally get a chance to look at the body camera and dash cam videos. It's estimated there may be as many as 9 body cameras, multiple dash cams. And when they arrived here, they found out that they were only going to get a chance to see one body camera, one 20-second clip from the body camera, and that it was going to be redacted. The law here in North Carolina gives the authority to smear the faces of the identities of the officers involved. And so when the family went in expecting to see that they were going to look at all the videos and only saw 20 seconds, they were disheartened and quite frankly angry. They didn't understand why this is happening. And they had hoped that they wouldn't only just get a chance to see it, but that they'd be able to walk out of here with copies. None of that happened. And so now they're going to court tomorrow and they're going to argue that they believe all of that footage should be made public and it'll be up to a judge. But interestingly, on Saturday, the sheriff here said that he wanted to make that video public. But in the paperwork that's been filed, he says he wants the video to be given to the adult son of Andrew Brown, Khalil Farabee. So if that is going to happen, it means that what he's going to see here is just looking at the video, but not getting a chance to walk away with it. And not being able to walk away with it for him is going to be considered a loss because he wants to get it out not only for himself, but for the public. You know, Joy, not too far from here, there's another peaceful protest. And it's notable that these folks here have been very peaceful. They have a very strong relationship with the city police, but they are not happy with the county sheriff's office and the way the county government has been moving along with this.
All right. So that was today in North Carolina. Okay, Pasquotank, North Carolina. Now, also important to note, we talked about this on yesterday's show, but Sheriff Tommy Wooten said that 7 deputies have been placed on administrative leave, while 3 have resigned. Now, the 7 placed on administrative leave, they were involved in the actual shooting. Okay. 3 resigning is not clear. That they've resigned from the department. Now, it's not clear how the 3 who are resigning, how they are involved in the incident, in the killing, if they are or not. It's not clear right now. Okay. All right, so check out those articles. Okay, I want to go to this next story here. This is an update on a story we talked about last week. This is dealing with menthol cigarettes. This ties into the health of African Americans because about 45,000 African Americans die each year from tobacco. Okay, and you're dealing with lung cancer. If you remember last week, we talked about this story here from the Washington Post, dealing with the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA is weighing banning menthol cigarettes. FDA weighs ban on menthol cigarettes, which disproportionately addict and kill African Americans. Menthol cigarettes disproportionately addict and kill African Americans. After a half century of big tobacco marketing menthol cigarettes to the African American community, the Food and Drug Administration is pressured to enact a ban. Now, we talked about this article last week. This is from April 20th, 2021 from the Washington Post. Okay. So you can check out this. Oh, let me show this here. Let me flip this around. Okay. FDA weighs ban on menthol cigarettes, which disproportionately addict and kill Black Americans. All right. So read this article here from the Washington Post. And one of the things that's extremely important here in the article, it talks about how although Black Americans smoke less than white Americans in general, Black men have the highest rate of lung cancer in the United States. Black men have the highest rate of lung cancer in the United States, even though African Americans smoke less than white Americans, but they smoke cigarettes less. Okay. But you got a lot of them smoking marijuana also, but they smoke cigarettes less. Now, this is according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, the number one cause of preventable death among African Americans, tobacco claims 45,000 Black lives each year. Okay. The number one cause of preventable death among African Americans, tobacco claims 45,000 Black lives each year. So when we talk about Black Lives Matter, Black lives just don't matter when he's dealing with white police officers killing us. Black lives have to matter to Black people also. This is why when I talk about negative corporate controlled hip hop, I'm not just talking about African people being dehumanized and African Americans being dehumanized, African American men and women being dehumanized. We're looking at marijuana and alcohol being promoted to us for the last 30 years through negative corporate controlled hip hop. Read this article here from the Washington Post. FDA weighs ban on menthol cigarettes, which disproportionately addict and kill African Americans. Now, that's from April 20th, 2021. So we have an update to the article here. We have an update. There's one from April 26th that I saw from NBC News. Okay, let's go to this one here. Let's flip over just a second here. Okay, let's look at this one here from NBC News. FDA poised to ban menthol cigarettes. Hold on just a second. Let me turn the screen share back on. Okay. FDA poised to ban menthol cigarettes this week, experts predict. The action would not remove menthol tobacco from stores immediately, but rather kick off the rulemaking process to do so, which could take several years. Okay, which could take several years. Now, the Food and Drug Administration appears likely to move to ban menthol cigarettes this week, a step experts say that has been years in the making, and that could have a significant positive impact on the health of African Americans. Now, the FDA's decision would not ban menthol immediately, but rather kick off the rulemaking process to do so, which could take years. The winds are definitely in our favor. Hold on just a second here. Let me refresh the screen here. The winds are definitely in our favor, said refresh the screen just a second. Okay, the winds are definitely in our favor, said Del Monte Jefferson, executive director of the Center for Black Health and Equity, citing both decades of data that show that the cooling flavor in cigarettes, okay, citing decades of data showing that the cooling flavor in cigarettes make it easier to start smoking, combined with the current cultural momentum toward improving the lives of African Americans. Now, when inhaled, menthol produces a cooling sensation in the throat, reducing the harsh taste of cigarettes and the irritation of nicotine. The vast majority of African American cigarette smokers, or 85%, use menthol cigarettes. The vast majority of African American smokers use menthol cigarettes. You're talking about 85% of African American cigarette smokers use menthol cigarettes. And women and men and women are much less likely than white Americans to be diagnosed with lung cancer at an earlier, potentially more treatable stage. African American men have the highest lung cancer death rate in the country. African American men have the highest lung cancer death rate in the country. So I posted this article April 26th, Monday, April 26th, on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. And some people made comments like, oh, we don't have anything better to worry about than cigarettes. Well, they didn't read the damn article. See, this is the problem when you comment on articles and don't read them. They didn't read the article. African American men and women are much less likely than white Americans to be diagnosed with lung cancer at an earlier rate. Okay, at an earlier, potentially more treatable stage. And black men have the highest lung cancer death rate in the country. Now, when you combine high rates of smoking with systemic racism in healthcare systems, you have a tremendous health disparity, said Erica Sward, SWARD, National Assistant Vice President for Advocacy at the American Lung Association. Now, both the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the National Institutes of Health recently announced plans to address structural racism in healthcare. Now, there's a last week when we talked about the story from the Washington Post, I was talking about what is in cigarettes. And we looked at information from the American Lung Association. Okay. We were talking about what the ingredients in cigarettes, and we were looking at information from the American Lung Association. There are approximately 600 ingredients in cigarettes. Only a fraction are actually listed on the package. If we look at this information here from the American Lung Association, American Lung Association, what's in a cigarette? What's in a cigarette? You can go to lung-org, okay, for the American Lung Association. There are approximately 600 ingredients in cigarettes. When burned, cigarettes create more than 7,000 chemicals. At least 69 of these chemicals are known to cause cancer, and many are toxic. Many of these chemicals also are found in consumer products, but these products have warning labels, such as rat poison packaging. While the public is warned about the danger of the poisons in these products, there's no such warning for the toxins in tobacco smoke. Okay, then they go and list some of the toxins that are actually in tobacco smoke: acetone and acetic acid, ammonia, arsenic, benzene, butane, cadmium, carbon monoxide, etc., nicotine, tar, methanol, lead. So check this out. We'll post this link here. This is from the American Lung Association. What's in a cigarette? Okay, now we flip back over here to the article from NBC News. So when you combine high rates of smoking with systemic racism in healthcare systems, you have a tremendous health disparity. And then also when I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered last week, about a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, back around April 8th, we talked about Dr. Rochelle Walensky, who is the new CDC director, who declared who declared racism a public health crisis. Okay. Let me see. All right. Okay, so check out this article as well. Look, we're going to get out of here. Be sure to register for the online course that I teach, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is a 9-week, 18-hour online course that I teach. We do thousands of years of history and what led up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place as an online class. You can watch from around the world. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips, etc. All the sessions are recorded. We do it live. All the sessions are recorded. You can go back and watch it over and over again also. All right. And you can register at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. I just posted the link, but you can also register at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And if you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHNShow. When you do it through Cash App, be sure to type in $ TheAHNShow, SHOW, $ TheAHNShow, and it'll show my name, say Michael, and it'll show my picture there as well. Okay. And this helps us keep doing the research, keep broadcasting 6 nights a week, pay some of the bills, stay on the air, etc. African American business owners, email us at AHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace.